Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to take a look at an interesting job hiring that could indicate a remaster of a Nintendo property. And we also have some interesting sales numbers coming out of the UK for the Xbox Series systems and the PlayStation 5. We have those topics and more to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. That's the best way to let me know you enjoy the content on this channel. Now let's get started. Recently we've seen several games get remasters made, and there was an interesting job advertisement that indicated there may be one coming from Nintendo. This headline from Nintendo Life says, Bandai Namco appears to be remastering a 3D action game for Nintendo. Now, first disclaimer, this could possibly be some type of translation issue. The article does say, according to multiple job listings on Bandai Namco's Japanese website, it's believed to be a remaster remake of a 3D action game by Nintendo. Bandai Namco is currently seeking planners to get the project up and running, as well as visual artists to perform HD remastering of 3D backgrounds. And all this is coming from a Google Translate from the Japanese website, where it says, as a visual artist for a 3D action game project on a Nintendo contract, you will be required to perform HD remastering of the 3D background. So that sounds pretty straightforward, but there could be translation issues. But this does make me want to speculate as to what game this could be for. We've seen many people speculate a Kid Icarus game and maybe even a Star Fox, but what makes the most sense to me is possibly Metroid Prime 2 and 3. You see, Bandai Namco was the original developer for Metroid Prime 4. And eventually their plans were scrapped and Nintendo moved the project over to Retro Studios. Now there's been rumors that there's a Metroid Prime 1 remake already done and just sitting on shelf waiting to be released, most likely before Metroid Prime 4 comes out, in order to help build the hype for that game. So could Bandai Namco be working on the remakes of 2 and 3? I kinda doubt they would be working on a Metroid remake of one of the 2D games, because as of right now, Mercury Steam has a really good track record of 2D Metroid games, including one as a remake. But tell me what you think. Do you have any other speculations as to what this might be? Is it an actual Nintendo IP? Or is maybe this just a translation error, meaning maybe they're just working on a game that's going to release on a Nintendo system? Next, we have an interesting article here from GamesIndustry.biz about the sales of the Xbox and PlayStation systems in the UK. Now, we've not gotten any numbers yet for what the US sales are, but this article here states, Xbox Series X and S saw the biggest increase in sales during March, up 61% compared with February. Microsoft's family of consoles were the best-selling devices in March, which was helped by the arrival of more Series X stock. Nintendo Switch sales fell 21% month on month, but is still the second best-selling console for March. The Nintendo platform remains the number one selling games machine of the year so far. PlayStation 5 is still in third place as the console continues to suffer from shortages. However, Sony's latest machine did see a 45% rise in stock compared with the month before. So the sales of the Xbox Series X and S systems being in first place kinda goes along with what I've hypothesized, that Microsoft is not putting as much stock into Japan and maybe pulling most of those into the UK and the US. There's also been reports that Microsoft made a deal with chip manufacturers to get priority on their production, but I'm not sure if that would even take effect just yet. That might be something we would see months down the road. So I'll be really curious to see how the sales of all these systems are doing in the US. It'll probably be about a month or so before we get the first quarter's numbers. Next, we've already seen E3 canceled for this year when they were attempting to try to do something digitally, but one of the longest running game conventions out there is still going forward digitally. This year's Quakecon will once again be a digital-only event from August 18th through August 20th. So this announcement comes directly from Bethesda, and they also add, "We're committed to returning with our full in-person festival in 2023. So it's good to see events like this continuing, at least for now, in digital form, and I really do hope that most of them return back to in-person next year. And finally, we have announcement of The Witcher 3 being delayed for the PS5 and the Xbox Series systems. This coming directly from the Witcher social media account. We have decided to have our in-house development team conduct the remaining work on the next-gen version of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. We are currently evaluating the scope of work to be done and thus have to postpone Q2 release until further notice." So the development of this port has got an interesting history. So it's supposed to be a free upgrade for people who already own the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version. And this next-gen version was supposed to include faster load times, ray tracing, and all the previously released downloadable content. CD Projekt Red also confirmed that they were in talks with some of the people in the mod community to have some of those mods incorporated into the game. Now, the game was originally scheduled to be released in the second half of 2021, but got pushed back before. But what I find most interesting about this announcement is they just say that it's postponed. They don't give a date that they're shooting for anymore. So this makes me wonder, has it just been postponed indefinitely? And that's all we have for today. Did anything we talk about catch your attention? Do you have any speculations on what game Bandai Namco could be developing for Nintendo? And are you surprised to see the Xbox Series systems outsell the PlayStation 5 in the UK last month? Drop a comment about those or any other topics we covered today. I want to thank you for watching and be good.